Ready? Elaine Sanchez,
Here.
Tamar Hopoli. Forgive me if I mispronounced your name. Nicole Rogers,
Here.
Jane Mack.
If I can just say that Jane Mack, Shannon Bilbray Axelrod, and Kiba Creer are all excused from today's meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Benavides. Okay. And Shannon Axelrod is excused. Kiba is excused. Fred James.
Here.
Felipe Ortiz.
Here.
Michelle Sanders.
Here.
Kate Whitley.
Here.
Chris Way.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Moving forward after roll call, do we have any public comment?
We do not have public comment.
Thank you. The next item is the board action to accept the agenda. And I see that Kelly Benavides is joining us right now. Hi, welcome.
Felipe Ortiz moved to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great, motion passes. Moving forward, discussion and possible action on the needs of the foundation for its future. I wanted to start this conversation because in February, I believe it was District Chair Brian Wilson who wanted to create a working group between the district and the foundation to find solutions on how we can work together. After speaking with our council, she believed it was a good idea, even though there is a working group. It's important to bring up the following information that we learned to our entire board before we move forward. And in going with the open meeting law, we had a meeting with the working group, and there is a proposal from consultants who actually, this is what they do for a living, library impact. And they are proposing that the library district and the foundation, the sum is $20,000. We pay $10,000. The district would pay $10,000 us to come together and provide solutions. Currently, right now, we have an endowment agreement, we have bylaws, and we have a bookstore sales agreement with the district. Our main purpose as a foundation is to enhance library programs that typically taxpayer funds cannot pay for. And so moving forward, our foundation is growing and we need to figure out how we want to grow. So prior to having the proposal brought to us by one of the founders of the Alliance for Library Impact, her name is Cindy Fessemeyer. Before we do that, I wanted to just have a 20-minute discussion, if possible, about what you think our needs and wants are for the foundation. I'm hoping that you've already seen the proposal, because if there's anything that perhaps missing in the proposal, we can ask for that. And I think now's a good time, or, you know, it's whatever you guys decide. I just think we should have an upfront conversation. I feel like the programs for the library district are expensive, and there is no way that the current taxpayer funding mechanism could pay for all the programs that the library district services for our community. And we are growing, but so is the bills for those programs. And we have never been a working board. And that's something that we need to figure out. Do we want to be a working board? Do we not want to be a working board? How do we go about and follow through with the mission of the library district in the best possible light? And I think this is something that we need to think about 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, because we do need to work with the district and ensure that it's seamless. So I'd like to ask all of our board members their thoughts on this. And I will start, if you don't mind. Sorry, I don't want to put somebody on the scene, but I'd like to start with you, Felipe. What do you think? And what would you like to see as far as the foundation moving forward for its future?
Good afternoon, everybody. Very quickly, thank you, everybody. Yes, things change, life changes, and we need to change with it. However, having said that, there is a history between both boards for a very long time. And so I guess there's two things. One is I want to make sure that this proposal is not intended to usurp the bylaws that exist. In other words, we're not trying to change the bylaws. This is just how we can do things better together. So that would be my first request or my first question to this group. We did not give them, as far as I can recall, instructions to change the board mechanism, the bylaws. That was never our intent, right? We could have done that without spending $10,000. Next, we haven't spent the money, but in case we decide to do it. Next, I believe that foundations are there to help raise money, not necessarily to do the minutia, the writing of the letters. It's really intended to give us the contact list to a staff, which we don't have, who actually goes out on our behalf. They throw our name around saying, hey, they gave us Felipe gave us your name and he thinks you would be a good fit. So I'm not sure that we're quite ready to be a working board, licking stamps, sending envelopes, all that stuff. So 2 issues. And I'm not sure, since we're on parallel, this would be the only opportunity. I want to make sure that the proposal before us is not intended to change the bylaws. That was never my intent. I believe the proposal is how we can do things better. And the third question is how do we, I don't believe that we can be a working board, but a more of a sharing our assets so that the person that does the asking can use our knowledge and our contacts to go out and find more money. The values in each and everybody on the foundation board who knows somebody or is somebody, I shouldn't even say that, who is somebody with their company that can help assist the library. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Director Michelle Sanders, I'd like to hear what you think. Oh, I'm sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah, I had to unmute. Sorry about that. I can only speak for me that I know my time doesn't allow to be a full working board. Outside of that, I'm willing to give my time. I'm willing to finish out, but that to me, but that's a tough ask.
Okay, thank you. Director Tamar.
Thank you very much, Elaine. I just first want to thank you so much for all of the work that has been put into this by you and the other folks who have jumped on this. I love this plan. I had to read it a couple times for me to kind of fully understand it, but I love how it's broken up into phases. It's helped me understand what the full purpose is of why we're doing this. And so thank you very much for that. I am in favor of this. I think just looking at the plan and the timeline, we might need to shift it a bit, just because we are at the end of April, and I think that it was supposed to kick off like in March or something. So I think that that's definitely doable. So I love, number one, I love the plan that's before us. Number two is I agree. I mean, and I'm not gonna lie, I've had discussions with Elaine saying, you know, should we be a working board? Should we not? But in respect for what the true understanding of what our board positions are and how, you know, what we all signed up for. You are right, Felipe. We were not here to, you know, lick stamps and stuff envelopes. Can we do that? Of course. I mean, that's definitely something we can do, but that wasn't part of our descriptions per se. It was to work with Joanne and the libraries to help further that, and what can we do with our networking, our contacts, to help make that phone call, right? To help set up those meetings, to help drive those dollars in, to help, wherever we can. So I agree on that. I do want to say, though, just to kind of comment on what Felipe was saying about the bylaws. While this plan was not meant to change bylaws, maybe I just want to keep it open that throughout this process of what we're going through, it might lead for us to maybe make a change, but we're not going into this with the intent to make a change, but we might have some learnings from this, which might draw us to make change to help make it a better board for the future, right? I mean, because it's all about sustainability, right? What can we do to help drive it? So to be quite honest, so there are certain predicaments that we came across within the past year or two that we don't want it to happen again. So I do want to leave that open, that there might be learnings for us to make change in the future, but definitely not with the intent to use this to make a change right now, right? So I'm in full support, Madam Chair, of the plan. I love it. And again, thank you very much for the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. And how about Director Whiteley?
Hi, everyone. I know I'm still kind of new, but I agree with Tamar completely. I think she nailed it. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to look at best practices across the country. If you do any sort of, Googling about what some districts our size are doing across the country, there's some really amazing examples out there of really strong foundations that are able to go out and flex a really big muscle. And we have a best in class district. I think this is our opportunity to stand up a best in class foundation. And we need to make sure that the support is in place and that the structure is in place so that this board, who I think everyone here deserves a big round of applause from where I'm sitting, because I feel like y'all have been put into a really challenging position where you were sort of forced to become a working board when you didn't really have that time, and that wasn't what you signed up for. So like the fact that you're all still here is amazing to me, and a testament to how much passion we all have for the library. So I'm just really excited to see like how we can create something, as Tamar said, for the future that's gonna outlast all of us and gonna continue to provide dividends to the community.
Thank you. Director James, do you have any comments regarding this?
Yes, I do. I'm part of the group that we've been on, and I come in with a lot of history, and I've seen the board work perfectly over the last maybe 15, 16, 17 years. We've gone from a small board with a number of people out of the community that has helped. I like the idea of us going through our bylaws and making some adjustments to those bylaws. I like the idea. We keep reminding ourselves that we are not a working board, and we're not there just yet. And if we were a working board, we would need a lot of assistance, and we don't have the resources to do that. I'm not in favor of particularly of the entering into the contract. I think it's a waste of time. I think that we can work with our attorneys and they can work with their attorneys to make whatever adjustments to the agreements that we have. We have the endowment agreement. We have the agreement between the foundations and the district, and any other memorandum of understandings that we may enter into. I believe that if we attack it from that standpoint, that we can get what we have. Yes, there are a lot of foundations across the country, but we do have several foundations here that could be a great model for us to follow, to emulate. Not to mention UNLV and the Clark County Public Education Foundation. Personally, I think that we should reconsider, and I know I've heard a couple of people, and I know how you feel, but I think we should attack our us understanding and have a better understanding. We don't have the funding to really do anything, and I think that the funding that we have, that we need to just work with our attorneys and to update our agreements. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Trustee Benavides, would you like to say anything on this?
Thank you. I agree with Trustee Tamar and Kate. I do understand what James is saying. I have, history as well. I think he and I probably are, long sitting between him working for the district and me being a trustee. So I do understand where he's coming from. And he does have a point. My only reason for kind of heading toward the direction that we are with getting a consultant is just for the basis of getting us together at the table, working together, figuring out what works best in other foundations, other boards that we can maybe learn from. I know the money is a big deal, and I was the one that brought up splitting the cost between the foundation and the district, just because I wanted to have it as a fair level ground where the consultants didn't feel like they were working for one certain entity and not the other. With that said, I had talked to Elaine about, whatever the whole board feels, whatever they decide, I will definitely support it. That was why I was in agreement in putting it up for a vote. So with that said, those were the ends of my comments.
Thank you so much. Director Wei, do you have any comments?
I do. Thank you very much for a few minutes. So just kind of two parts. One is what we've done well and as it relates to our mission. Essentially, we've discussed what our mission is already, and the notion that we support the programs that are most in need, that need funding, that the library district may not be able to fund directly. In the process of doing that, we rely on the district who knows the community better than individual board members do. They know the depth, they have the data, they know what programs, patrons, or the demand is. And so for our role of, listening to what needs are out there and the district proposing certain programs that we need to support, and then as a board deciding which programs that we will in fact support and to prioritize those. So that I believe that role of this foundation should continue. The one thing that we know has changed is how we need to fund ourselves as a foundation. So in terms of the question of a working board or not, I think that applies more to that question of funding than other aspects of our role. And probably what Tamar said is hit the point that the level of work or the scope of work that we engage in really is about connecting people into the community, or showing up to meetings, or opening doors to whoever we appoint or hire to be our director of fundraising or development. So I think we've done some of those things in the past, but also how we as individuals, based on our background, if we have media experience or marketing or finance, applying those skills as it relates to the success of the foundation. So that's the one piece that may change and that we have to spend a little more time on. But the scope of the working board can be a continuum, right? It can be the stamp licking that Felipe discussed, but it could just be showing up for a few meetings to try to make sure that we're fully funded and supporting the programs. So just getting to that process of understanding what programs are the priority, what the budgets for those programs should be, to help us understand what level of fundraising we need to do, and then going and help executing to varying degrees is kind of where I see the future. is as far as the proposal, Fred, I certainly understand your point. And I agree with you on the fact that we've got other foundations in this community that could serve as an example. But I'm always open to the idea that there might be some new ideas that this consultant has through their experience that we may miss. And if there's something that, that is an aha moment for us, or some really, new great idea that we can apply, it might be worth the investment and time to go through that process. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Director Rogers, do you have any comments?
I think it echoes probably almost everyone here. I think asking us to be a working foundation is, I think it's a little crazy. I think we all have our normal jobs. And to have to ask 40 more hours, which is what a working group would do on top of what everyone else here already does, I think is kind of crazy. I think we can give our time the way that we've been doing. And I think going through this proposal, I think is good faith on both ends. And I think it has the potential to allow our non-working board to work more efficiently. If we go through and say, this is what they found on the proposal, this is what we can open our eyes to, this is how our non-working board can work more efficiently and more with our time and with our efforts, and in good faith. I do think it's a lot of money, but I think for the overall, I think I've said it before, it seems to me, being one of the newer members, it seems to me that this foundation has been working very efficiently, and then there was a lot of money that kind of came in all at once, and then I feel like we exponentially grew, it seems like, and I feel like now is the time to make sure that everything works, because we can only grow this, right? If we do it right, we can only grow this and make this endowment even bigger. And as more money becomes involved, I do think we need to make sure that everything is tightened down and hatches are hatched, and I think that this is the right time to of really doing a deep dive into our side of the foundation to make sure that we are doing everything that we are doing correctly, to make sure that the district gets everything that they need going forward, and hopefully make it even a better board and a better library district. Hopefully that the nation can look at, one day and look back and go, wow, they really did it right. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, thank you. I want to tell everyone, thank you for coming to this special meeting. Thank you for looking through the proposal. Thank you for giving all your comments, because all of this is helpful to making final decisions. And we will, I think, this is part of a discussion and possible action. I think what would be nice is once we get the minutes, maybe we figure out what are the things that we can utilize for this, whether the Alliance for Libraries impact proposal is passed or not. We can use these comments as part of our growth to make our foundation stronger. So I'd like to propose that we put all of our thoughts and comments together, and that we use that as part of the action plan for our future. Can I get a motion for that?
What exactly are we voting on?
Just voting on using everyone's comments towards whether we use the proposal for the library impact or not, but we use everyone's comments and we grow, because you have some board members saying we should have the proposal, and you have some board members saying we shouldn't. But I think that everyone's comments, we can use those comments moving forward for our future.
Elaine, quick question. When do we have to say yes to the proposal with the
That's our
district?
next agenda item. That's our next agenda item right now. So how it works is council told me that it would be a good idea to bring this before the board, and we approve it officially. And then we can move forward and work with the library district.
Mr. Chairman, so essentially you're asking us to document the comments we said, plus any particular action items we think we need for the future of the foundation?
Correct. That's all I'm saying. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, well, I move that we email in our comments to the chair with any proposed action items that would impact the future of the foundation.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Madam Chair, I'll second. This is Tamar Hoafili.
Thank you. So the motion on the floor is that we are going to utilize the comments that were made at our meeting, and we will use them either for the proposal or for our future action items. And if there's something that you're thinking of, please send me an email. But I think a lot of your comments have the weight, so that's the motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any abstentions? Seeing none, any nays? No, motion carries. Thank you. The next agenda item is the discussion and possible action to approve the Alliance for Library Impact proposal. I want to thank all the board members for taking a look at that proposal. Right now we have Cindy Bessmeyer. She's here. She is a principal of the Alliance for Public Libraries, and I wanted to introduce her, and hopefully she can just answer questions and speak to you about the proposal. And her co-founder is Amanda Standifer, and she's not with us, but Cindy, I know, will do a wonderful job answering any questions you may have. Cindy?
Hi all. I am literally just here to answer questions. I think if you had time with the proposal, I will say when I reviewed it to prepare for this meeting, I noticed that the dates in the narrative no longer match the dates in the budget and timeline. So the budget and timeline is what we're proposing as far as dates go, but all of the activities that are outlined in the Learn, Dream, Do parts are still the same. It's just those dates that weren't updated through the many, many iterations of this proposal that we created for you. So I'm really just here to ask you if you have questions for me.
This is Kelly Benavides. Cindy, I just wanted you to reiterate about the timeline, that we weren't in a rush. I think there was maybe one person that was pushing the speediness of this, but I think we were all in agreement that we wanted to take our time, make sure we did this right.
Thanks for sharing that, Kelly. That's lovely to hear. And yes, that's most definitely our recommendation as well. So I'm happy that we're on the same page with that.
There was a comment from a board member. They wanted to make sure that we're not here to change our bylaws. That's not my understanding. My understanding is this proposal is to help create a working dynamic where we will be able to create a future agreement. Right now, we have an agreement with the district, but to make a future agreement that is workable for both parties. Is that your understanding, Cindy?
Absolutely. So the beauty of having Amanda and me both involved in this is we both have backgrounds in foundations, we've both been trustees, and we've both been library staff. So I feel that we have a pretty well-rounded picture of your situation. And yeah, I mean, we jump right in to gather data with you all, and then to compare it against other industries, other industry standards, and then to talk to stakeholders too. So we'll do a lot of on the ground data gathering before we even get around to those retreats. And the idea behind the retreats was that there will be 2 virtual mini retreats, one for the library board trustees and one for the foundation leadership, to separately process how they want to move forward and to coalesce together as a group. And then it culminates in an in-person, probably half-day retreat with each body, should they choose, having counsel there to go along with us. And the great hope is that it results in the recommendations that are ultimately presented in the fall, sort of having had all voices apparent from both parties throughout, with counsel from both parties throughout, so that hopefully by the time it comes around to the fall with official recommendations, the learning curve has been conquered.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board regarding the purpose of the proposal, the working plan, the timeline?
Madam Chair, this is Tamar.
Yes.
Hi, Cindy, this is Tamar. Not so much a question, but just kind of a, just some things that first of all, I love your approach of going to both the foundation separately and then of course to the library trustees. I think that gives both groups a sense of being able to speak, freely and not so much, not that we can't speak freely, but you also want to just kind of be cautious and careful and not hurt one's feelings. So I appreciate that approach. Thank you so much. Yes, if you look the timeline, I think we need to shift it just a bit if this does go through, just because I think it said it was supposed to start in March and we're almost in May.
Yeah, actually, Elaine, are you the one sharing your screen? Could you scoot down to the budget timeline part? That is correct. Here we go. It's
Okay.
harder to read, but that is correct. And actually it still does further need to be shifted because it has, perfect, thank you. It has a starting in April, but April's almost over. So we'll just go with the flow and we'll work with you and we'll do it when you're ready.
Okay, it was just a comment. Just wanted to just share that I love that approach. So thank you for that.
Perfect, thank you.
Are there any other questions from the board? Okay. Cindy, thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure
to do this.
Good luck in your deliberations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Are there any internal discussions that we'd like to have regarding this?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
it just popped in there very quickly. Each board is going to participate. Each board's going to make recommendations. Each board's going to look at how this is done. And so we're splitting the cost 50-50. And there isn't, for the record, it appears to me that there's an additional cost for our attorney to review it. So it's just not this amount. The ancillary cost is for an attorney to review it.
That is correct. What it would be is you'd have a proposal. We would each split, the cost of this proposal. And then after everything's done, we would have each attorneys look at it to create an agreement. So that's, you're right. It is a process.
So it could,
there's
be about 30,000.
At the end of the day, I'm not sure what it will cost, but I will say that it appears that, the district chair felt that this was a good idea. Unfortunately, we have not had a lot of communication from the district, except for, just recently. And I'm talking about specifically the chair, Brian Wilson. And so I think it's important that we do have some type of agreement. We have one now. However, it's very old. And I think, we do need to figure this out. There are two options. We can not do the proposal and try to do it ourselves, or we can do the proposal with guidance from people who know what they're doing. They have dealt with foundations, they have dealt with library districts, and they've also been on the staff side. And the whole thing about, doing good faith efforts, I think that's true. The district doing this and us doing this, it's a good faith effort. We are their foundation. We just want to streamline the process. And we want to also make sure that, the right foot and the left foot are working in tandem. and nobody is crossing cables. No one's crossing cables, so the communication is correct. So yes, it's going to cost us money, but I also think that it costs us by not having a new agreement, and it costs us by not having certain words stipulated in agreements, because it creates more work for those who are officers of the board. I can personally attest to that. And it also creates a situation where the officers and our foundation board members are not able to focus on raising more funds, because right now we're having to deal with day to day, which is really not our job. That is not what any of us signed up for in the first place. So,
Madam Chair, I'm satisfied with your answer, and I'm also satisfied with the proposal. Thank you so much.
okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to say the point. I'm not dissatisfied with the proposal. I'm not dissatisfied with what the people are going to do. I'm just thinking that I still feel the way I feel, and that is that it's a waste of money, and that we should focus strictly on working out what the issues between our mutual, our agreements. I think the point was brought up by Director Ortiz that we're going to be paying a lot of money, and we have a great attorney, and to have good attorneys, it's not cheap, and it's going to cost a lot more, or as much as it's going to cost us as much as I believe that it is to work out these contracts with the other side. So my feeling is that I personally would prefer to focus on the contracts with the attorneys, and I go from there. And that's my comment.
Is there anyone else who'd like to comment? Yes, Director Hopley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to share, everyone, it's the natural evolution for our foundation to go what we're going through right now. The agreements haven't been updated in many years, and whatever process we choose, whether it be through our counselors or through the consultants, it is definitely a process that we have to go through. There are pickles that we ended up in over the past year and a half. We cannot do our jobs of being a fabulous director for our libraries and for our community if we're caught up in all of those other challenges. So I just wanted to, it's the evolution of the foundation. We need to do something like this to take ourselves to the next level. And again, it hasn't been done in a very long time. So let's do it, and let's do what we do best, and that is to serve our libraries, to serve our children, and to serve our community.
Any other comments from our foundation board? Is there a motion on the floor? Yes.
Elaine, I can put a motion on the floor. I just want to make sure that I'm at the right place in the agenda. I'd like to put a motion on the floor to accept the proposal for the consultants for the foundation.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to accept the Alliance for Library Impact proposal for the foundation. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Director Way. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Are there any abstentions? Are there any nays?
Nay, Fred, Director
Okay.
James.
Director James, nay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone. I know this has been It's been a lot of information, and I know, I just want you to know, I appreciate everyone's opinions. And I do believe that they're not mutually exclusive. I do believe that MOUs and agreements, all those can be discussed for the proposals so we can input them. So that's the one thing that I will say. Okay, the next item is discussion and possible action on the foundation working group's members and terms. I wanted to make you aware that right now, the working group for the foundation for this matter, which is the agreements, it comprises of myself, Director Kiba Creer, Director James, and Director Rogers. I believe Director Creer and my terms are going to be ending. I think my last meeting is in May. So I believe that it's important, if not at this meeting or the next meeting, to discuss new members to the working group or how you would like to go about doing this. Any discussion, any ideas?
Is it possible, even if your term is ended, that we can do like a pseudo extension, because you've been such a big part of it, to have somebody else come in? Is there a way to like extend for a certain amount of months or extension till we see it through? Or is it just voting on a new?
That's a question for council. Brianna, do you have, what do you think about that?
As long as the board votes to allow you to, that would be okay, but you can't have any vote as to whatever moves forward once you're done, when your term is over.
So
And to review the bylaws. I'm sorry, Elaine, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you say that again?
So we need to also review the bylaws to confirm, and I know that's the next item on the agenda, and I don't know if the bylaws will be updated, but we just need to review them again to make sure that the bylaws will allow for that as well.
Okay, so I think that's something that the board, I am certainly available to help in any way possible for the group. I do think that whether I'm on the working group or not on the working group, I think that the district would allow me to at least, have an interview and have my comments input during this time period, which I think would be helpful. I'm really here to just help the district and the foundation any way I can. So, Brianna, will you find out what is allowed? And then we can go from there. Are there any other comments from board members?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, Felipe, go ahead.
I would prefer, sometimes we have to move on, and you're not really moving on, you're going to move on, but I would prefer replacing your position with another board member, maybe Chris Way or the lady, I'm drawing a blank, Tamar, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Would replace you, and then continue with the other three, Kiba, James, and Nicole.
Okay. And that is certainly doable.
But we would still have to vote on extending Kiba because her term is done as well, correct?
Oh, so we need two.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I suspect the bylaws do not permit us to, just like you said, they can make comments, but it's not really carry any weight on behalf of the board because they're not on the board.
Right, and they have no vote.
That's correct. So I prefer, if we're going to have to put any weight, any teeth to this, if we're going to make this a credible venture, no offense to anybody, then we need teeth. We need everybody's input in there that's eligible to provide input. So we would need two appointments.
Yeah. And that's why I put this up, because it's something that I don't want to leave this board in a lurch, before I leave. I think it's important to have things in place. We we still have another meeting to vote it in. We could do a special meeting, but I definitely wanted to bring this up and I wanted to hear your comments. So then that way we do what's best for the foundation.
Madam Chair, this is Tamar.
Yes.
I believe that the bylaws do not have what I'm calling a past president position as part of the board. On another nonprofit that I served on, there was the past president position there, again, just to help with this transition. And I believe it was only in term of 1 year. So I can't see who was speaking earlier, but I think that's definitely something that we can maybe review when we go through the bylaws and see if that's something that we might want to consider to add to it. Again, this is sustainability for future, right? Beyond today and tomorrow of how we can help the board members for the future. I think, you know, the president staying in for at least a term under what we were talking about, definitely something that we should discuss and really add it to the bylaws and you know, put it in there. But I don't think we can do that right now. So we might have to just ask for permission for Elaine to be a part of it. And then we as a foundation go through the bylaws, I think. Felipe, am I speaking correctly on that?
Well, we're not agendized for changing the bylaws right now, but it is.
Right. But I'm just talking about the process, right? Wouldn't that
Yes.
process be kind of that?
Yes.
I can answer that. So the bylaws do not have an immediate past president position, but that could be added, which is why I said the bylaws could be changed because they are going to be updated. There is a discussion for that. So that's why I phrased it in that sense, but currently, no, there is no position for immediate past president to remain on.
Thank you, Brianna. Thank you.
This is Fred. Is there a way that we could put on the next agenda to amend our bylaws for just put this particular situation to amend it?
Why don't we, if anybody has anything else to say about the working group and the members and the terms, and if they don't, then we can move on to the next discussion, which is updating the bylaws. And I think there, Fred, it's appropriate to discuss all those things.
And
Okay.
Elaine, this is Joanne, if I can jump in for a moment. Jane Mack is also termed out at the next
Yes,
meeting.
thank
as
you
well.
you know what, I was just thinking about our foundation working group, but yes, thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I think it makes sense for a short-term extension. I think whichever board members replace you and Kiba on the working group, we can do a expedited handoff or briefing just to make sure that all the work and understanding and background have been captured for the work remaining to finish off. With regards to if we do need to, as it relates to this, change the bylaws when your term is up, just want to ensure that you mentioned May, maybe you meant it was your last meeting. So to make sure that we would get this complete before you're actually termed out.
I agree. And I agree. I think when we discuss the next action item or update on the update, I think there'll be a lot of answers to that.
Got it. Super.
And sorry, to answer everybody's question, I'm looking at the bylaws, and a committee member does not have to be a board member, but they can only act as in an advisory capacity.
Right.
That's good. That's good to know. Thank you.
And then, I'm sorry, the follow-up question as it relates to board member terms. Do we have a document or have it documented as to the terms of each board member and when they're expiring?
Yes. And Joanne,
would you mind distributing that?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Okay. I think is my connection okay?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my computer said it wasn't, so I have to make sure. Okay, the next item is update on bylaws. I know a lot of us remember that Brownstein, Hyatt, Farber, and Schreck were helping.
Elaine, sorry, you're going in and out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it okay now?
Yes.
We had Brownstein, Hyatt, Farber, and Schreck and they were doing work for the Library Foundation pro bono. And they are diligently working on the bylaws based on the bylaw committees and their suggestions. So hopefully by Friday to the committee, you guys will be sent out revised versions. And then there is an attorney by the name of Carmen Gilbert, and she is going to be reaching out to you folks to see if you have any comments or questions. So then that way we can have this discussion for our next meeting. And that would be my final meeting, I believe, in May. If we need a special meeting for the bylaws, we can certainly do that too. But that's what I have as far as an update. Are there any questions?
Elaine, Fred had previously asked, which I didn't answer, if we could amend the bylaws to add for immediate past president. I would say if you're going to have Carmen revise the bylaws, everything should be revamped together all in one instead of just making one amendment.
No, I agree. And I think that's what she's doing. She is amending all of the committee's comments.
Okay, and I agree with that strategy.
And I will say for the board, updating the bylaws is pretty crucial. Hasn't been done for 25 years. I know you guys already know that. A lot of your comments are being put into the new bylaws, and it's really, up to you what you guys want to do. If you guys want a special meeting, or if you guys just want to put it on the regular board meeting in May, you just let me know, send me an email, and we'll do whatever that is best for your schedule and what works for you all. Any questions? Okay.
Elaine, what
Yes.
is the timeline for the updates? I mean, are we looking at way past May? Or
The bylaws?
I'm sorry, yes, the bylaws.
Yeah, no, you probably get them sometime at the end of this week,
Okay,
Friday.
all right, that makes more sense. I just want to make sure that we weren't pushing something back that
Yeah, no.
maybe
No,
needed to
only
be addressed in
because,
the moment if we weren't going to receive that.
So what happened, and just for people's information, the committee was working on this for a while, and then and they had a meeting, and then some of those comments are being put into this new bylaws, but we didn't have an attorney working on it. So now that Hyatt Farber Schreck, now that they came back, Brownstein, Hyatt Farber and Schreck came back with this attorney, Carmen Gilbert. She is working on all of that. So you will have an update on Friday. And then from there, she'll send it to the committee, and then she'll get your comments back, and then we should have something. So again, it's up to the committee. I'm not on that committee, but it's up to the committee if you guys want a special meeting, or if you guys just want to put it in on the regular meeting so we can make whatever changes and comments, and we'll just go from there. Because you're right,
So I'm
Director.
going to take it that you're saying that what we're discussing today, as far as a past president possibility, the people who are on that committee will take back and possibly add that to it. Or
Correct.
come back
Mhm.
to us saying why they don't want to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Elaine, can you tell us who's on that committee, on that bylaws committee?
I believe it was Kiba Creer. I believe it was Nicole. Were you on that?
It was me and Michael Kalish, and then we might need to bring someone else in, I think, because he left.
Okay. So it's Michael Kalish. Oh, it was Tamar, Michael, Kiba Creer, and Nicole Rogers. Thank you. Any other questions from board members? Okay, very good. Moving on to the next agenda item. Is there any other public comment?
Hey, Elaine, this is Joanne. We have no public comment.
Thank you, Joanne.
Elaine, if I could take
Yes.
5 minutes on an update on the future of the, and I forgot to add this on that comment and back in the section where we were talking about section 4. I did talk to the people from the market tax credit, and it is a possibility, but it's a difficult possibility for us to be able to get funding for that. This is one of the things I'm working on in the background, and I'll keep you updated. I'll keep the board updated on what we will be able to do in the near future, or in the near future, or sometime in the future.
Okay, regarding discussion item number 4.
Yes.
So why don't you send me an email with what you would like to discuss, or how you would like to get it on the agenda for May, and we will make sure to include that.
It's just an update. It will just be.
And that's fine. Just, yeah, let me know. We can do that. All right, we have no public comment. So moving forward, I would like to adjourn this meeting at 12:58.
I second.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Elaine. Thank you so much.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
thank you guys.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day.